Since the dawn of Rivals, there were yet three kinds of players: duelists, strategists, and vanguards. They fought honorably before the tryhards, before the 3-stack dive comps. They were simpler times. Some call it legend, others myth. But as players rose, so did they, earning Lord Icon after Lord Icon, perfecting mechanics and animation cancels. The dark times came, and with it, Black Panthers, one-shot combo Spider-Man, and Satan's greatest soldier, Iron Fist. Many have tried to stop them. Even more have failed. However, today, ladies and gentlemen, we fight back and we learn how to counter every single hero within Marvel Rivals with the A to Z counter guide for Season 2. We're going to talk on how to hard counter all the dives, all the threats, the vanguards, duelists, you name it, we're going to cover it because there's nothing sweeter than hard countering somebody, making them switch mid-match. Now, you might have lost the game, but you won the war if you make them switch, and that's today's goal. Let's jump in. All right, guys, first up on the list is Adam Warlock. And listen, Adam can be countered by the majority of heroes, if you will, in Rivals. But at the same time, Adam is great against the majority of the heroes. And it all comes down to him being one of the highest skill stealing characters within the game. Mr. Warlock is all about his cooldowns, guys, right? Watching Soul Bond on top of his quick healing that he can now get even quicker with headshots is really the main way to take him down. Like, yes, Winter Soldier is great against his ultimate, and Magic and Spider-Man can quickly delete him. But Black Panther's a great example. Black Panther can delete an Adam Warlock that's bad with their cooldowns, and thus he's a good counter. But actually, in reverse, Adam Warlock is very good against Black Panther if he knows when to trigger his heals during the combo or put on the Soul Bond at the right time to protect his team. In general, guys, the quick kind of burst assassin DPS are going to be best to eliminate an Adam quickly, and it really does come down to the rank that you're in. If you're in low elo, low rank, feel free to kind of dive him and really make his life hell. It's not going to be easy for him to counter you. It takes a lot of mechanical skill, but the higher you climb within the rank, the more you're going to have to respect how good he is probably at aiming and taking you down, or at least putting a ton of pressure on you, especially because supports tend to stick together. Now, that being said, if Adam is ever by himself or away from the team, that's the time to jump on him. If he does have his passive and he's kind of floating around, feel free to follow him to make him either force respawn in his own spawn or make him spawn there and obviously get rid of him. But I would say a major part about countering him is also just all about his ultimate. First of all, it's up to you, and you're going to hear this a lot today, but to track his ultimate. If you haven't heard it in a while, or it hasn't happened and a lot of other ultimates are coming potentially on their second go around, or you've all used them, Adam Warlock probably has his. So it's your job to keep an eye out or communicate with your team during a team fight to locate the Adam, either get rid of him first or just know where he is at all times, so that when you hear Born Again, you can kill him mid through it, or wait for them all to spawn and then do something like a Bucky ult or a quick high damage AoE to kill everybody. I would say for the majority of players, Adam isn't too much of a problem. Most people can handle him. Great example, if you're Thor, you can put a lot of pressure on Adam and he has almost no way to respond to you. Yes, you can get headshot and he can heal a bit quicker, but in awakened form, you just burn right through him. In short, guys, take away one thing: watch his cooldowns. He gets punished even more now with the nerfs that he received. All right, so breaking down Black Panther, you guys know it, I know it. If you have a god Black Panther on the other team, you got the Lord icon, you know what's happening. And listen, guys, not to call anybody out, but the majority of you guys, you look up this video for one hero and one hero alone, Black Panther, because, well, you load up your 15 FPS machine and it can barely keep track of where this guy is, and 17 dashes later, your entire team is cooked. Am I right? And sorry, guys, just stepping in here. Did I just hear 15 FPS, man? Like, what are you playing on, a calculator? Hey, I have you know, I built this PC myself, and on low settings, it runs pretty perfectly. Low settings. Listen, buddy, your PC just told me to insert floppy disk number 2, man. I've seen toasters run better. I'm just saying. It runs fine, my man. It runs fine. Listen, the only thing that this thing runs on is hopes, dreams, and is that a hamster wheel under there? You know what? I've seen enough. Okay, fine. Get out of here. Yeah, I'm leaving after that. Okay. Now? You know what this guy needs? He needs NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 series GPU with DLSS 4, my friend. Listen, guys, in Marvel Rivals, DLSS 4 can multiply your performance by 4.4x on a GeForce RTX 5090. We're talking 4K, 240 FPS, gameplay so smooth it makes reality look choppy. Here, come with me to my lab. You see, guys, my friend DLSS here uses AI to upscale your graphics, and the DLSS multi-frame generation can add up to 3 extra frames per rendered one. You're not just getting boosted, you're getting multiplied. And with NVIDIA Reflex, you get up to 50% reduced latency. It means you can aim at your enemies faster, quicker reactions, and the ability to actually win a 1v1 duel without instant locking a auto-aim hero end. Hoping for the best. Hey, you leave Scarlet Witch out of this. Listen, you guys know in Marvel Rivals, you need precision, you need power, and you need the ability to throw meteors better at the opponent with Magneto than they can. And with that, you need frames. Frames for days. Listen, guys, I can tell you firsthand the best part about having hardware that works perfectly is when you lose 5 games in a row. You know it's not your PC. It's just bad teammates and not you. So, guys, upgrade to GeForce RTX 50 series to multiply your frames, delete your lag, and unleash your potential in Marvel Rivals, because the only thing holding you back was your PC. Now, Black Panther is going to thrive at his combos. The good news is there's a lot to interrupt these combos, and pretty much any CC within the game can tame down his dash, which is what everything is built around. If you don't know, and you should by now, his dash is going to be reset when he goes through a marked enemy, and well, his whole purpose is to dash through you to get the reset and whip around the map so you can't see him, and he makes life hell, climbing up obstacles and going right through you. Now, how to effectively stop this is to interrupt the dash or make him miss. Once this is done, he has long cooldowns, and it's tricky for him to get out, and then you can punish him after this. If everybody stops what they're doing and turns and tries to eliminate him, it can work, but oftentimes you're a stop target and he can just swipe through you and get the eliminations. He doesn't care how low his health gets, his damage gets better. And so for the heroes to counter him, there's plenty that do it once again, but obviously Namor and his turrets make life hell. Mr. Fantastic is really good and one of the best anti-dive heroes within the game. Not enough people are picking Mr. Fantastic to counter dive. Obviously Bucky and his hook and or his kind of uppercut can displace Panther and make his life hell as well. Even things like Jeff's bubbles, Penny's webs, Squirrel's nuts, Luna's freeze, you have Hela CC, all of which just really make life tough for Panther. Another great support is Invisible Woman. You can shield block, push away. You have a lot in your kind of toolkit to keep Panther at bay, not to mention you can go invisible to avoid him. And then the newcomers, the Thing and his knockup is just one of the easiest ways to shut him down, making you the MVP quite literally for your supports if you go back and peel for them. And then the new Emma Frost, you know, just go diamond mode, find him, choke him, throw him against a wall, make his life hell. I think personally, Emma's probably the best counter against him in something like domination, where he has to come to you. If you're trying to like push a payload, Emma's in the front line, he goes in the back line. That's when it's tough. But in domination, I'm telling you, Thing and Emma can completely shut this guy down. And then lastly, guys, and this is coming from playing a lot of Panther myself, just stay in groups, right? Like Panther wants to isolate you guys. If he tries to dive in and do his shenanigans and you guys are grouped up, or even just a couple of healers are together, you can top off your team and he is not going to be able to do enough damage. They call him a tickle monster for a reason. He cannot put that much damage out. And so if you're not isolated, he's going to have almost an impossible time. So it all comes down to communication and being aware where you are in regards to your team. Now moving on, guys, Natasha, Black Widow. Love that she's right after Black Panther. You have Black Panther, one of the most researched heroes. How do I counter in the game? And then you have Black Widow, notoriously one of the worst heroes within Rivals. However, the higher that you get in rank, the more you have to respect Black Widow. And it really comes down to that word, respecting the long range when it comes to dueling her. Black Widow, she does one thing great. A lot of things bad, but one thing great, and that is long distance DPS. So you can do one of two things. You can close the gap on her quickly with someone like Psylocke, or you can just do better at long range with heroes like Hawkeye or even Hela. You can play high mobility heroes that is very tough for her to hit, like Magic, Spider-Man, the Hulk, or just have a giant shield that you can put in her face like Magneto or even Emma Frost. Now, patch after patch, they have buffed what she can do up close with her engagements, and a great Black Widow can take advantage of this and, you know, really handle something like an Iron Fist at times. However, that number is pretty few and far between who can continually handle up close interactions, so the answer most of the time is to dive her. And for the love of God, don't play a flyer. Typically, though, the best part about playing Black Widow is the team is the best thing that counters her, because her own team is going to yell at her for picking the hero because she's oftentimes not pulling her weight, and then you win, right? Team morale. All right, guys, next up, the Jolly Green Giant, the Hulk. Now, the best way to typically handle the Hulk is to ban him and not play him in the first place. But if your lobby does not ban the Hulk, well, luckily, there's a good amount of ways to take care of him. Now, I'm going to put them all on screen, but there's two ways to handle them. Typically, you go with the CC option, slow them down, or the good old-fashioned raw DPS, right? Hela, Iron Fist, Wolverine, you put so much damage on the guy that he's either forced to escape, you burst down his bubbles, and really you punish him before he can disengage. Oftentimes people don't play the Hulk right, and engaging and disengaging is very hard to learn. And as soon as he puts his bubbles up, does some damage, he wants to get out. But what you can do instead is punish him, and then he's going to go into Bruce Banner form, and the rest is done. But in turn, guys, it's often not the Hulk, it's Namor, Iron Man, everything that's picked alongside him. But if you are struggling a lot, going CC heavy like Penny Parker is a massive counter to the guy. Her webs completely shut him down. Her spider nests make it tough for him to jump in. Luna Snow and the freezes help out, and then you can often heal past the damage that he does with Ice Arts. Bucky and the Claw, you guys know it by now. Very easy way to shut down the Hulk as well. And then Emma Frost. I mean, like a Hulk jumping in to just get choke slammed down, and then everybody shoots while he is choke slammed, which I still think they should change. Because when Hulk grabs someone in his ult, you know, people can't shoot him. But either way, Hulk is one of those heroes that thrive when people are not giving him respect. We're going to use that word a lot today. He has a lot of health, right? And so when he dives the backline and there's other threats, people oftentimes ignore him. But if you burn him down, well, he's going to be quite useless for his team. And think about a team without a tank. They're obviously not as good. So burn him down, CC him down, make him escape, or just kill him. All right, Captain America, Steve Rogers. A lot of people are going to come to the guy just for this guy because we've all been there, right? You have the Captain America that's stalling the point so long, whether it's domination or just stalling the payload from going to the objective, that your team loses the game because they don't know how to kill him. In fact, Captain America is quite literally unkillable at times if you don't go to the right hero and shut him down quickly. And that's because, well, a good Captain America can survive forever by going to health packs, getting topped off by a healer, timing their ult right, and just punishing your team with the damage buff that he's been added in Season 2. Captain America was one of the most annoying heroes in the game. He's been hit with a couple of nerfs, but still very good. And mainly, guys, the best way to stop a Captain America is not only just to kill him all the time, because sometimes that's going to work, but oftentimes you just want to do enough damage to get him the hell out of your way. Don't let him get that health pack, just get him out of your sight, right? If he's diving your supports, that's another thing, but oftentimes good CC like the Thing is a great way to shut down Captain America. Same as the Hulk, Penny Parker, you know, can do the job. Emma Frost, these are all very good ways to shut down, you know, the head of the Avengers here. But Wolverine and Iron Fist also good ways to do high burst damage. And then I have Loki and Adam, which is probably confusing, but really, guys, this is with most dive heroes in the game. You can use both of them to keep your team up, right? I said this with the Adam Warlock. Black Panther can quickly zip and get rid of Adam, but at the same time, a good soul bond on top of the lanterns is going to make it impossible for him to do his job. But your job is to just get him out of the way, you know, get him out of there or kill him, whatever one comes first. Which brings me to my last point about him. In the lower ranks, you're often going to have your team, like, let's say in Spider Island, 4 of them are way up ahead because you're pushing the point. And then you have like 2 supports and maybe a tank and captains just running around that point and making it not go any further. Put it in chat, ping them, do whatever you need to do to get as many eyeballs and or, you know, threats on Captain America, because if you don't have enough, you're not going to be able to do anything to him, and he's going to be able to stall for pretty much the entire point. All right, so Cloak and Dagger, guys. Now, a lot like Adam Warlock, I could put a bunch of heroes here, but instead of focusing on who to play, it's what you need to do against them. Now, Cloak and Dagger can stagger their cooldowns, and that's what makes it tough, but you're looking for Dagger's bubble, and you're looking for Cloak's phase out. If you dive them, they're typically going to panic and use one of these or both of them, and that's your time to eliminate them. You can go that route with something like Psylocke, bait it out, and then go back and get and finish off the elimination. Or you can go with something like Moon Knight for quick instant damage, throw down the Ankh, and then do quick bursts of Crescent Darts to pretty much instantly eliminate her. But what I like to do, especially if I'm playing a flank hero, is in a team fight, you know, you're looking for that quick kind of assassination kill. And so you're watching her, and as she uses the bubbles for her tanks or her DPS, that's when you dive her. She's not going to be able to do much, and maybe she has a cloak escape. You wait it out just a little bit, and then she's going to die. Now, they did get a buff to their damage, so you have to respect them a little bit more, but oftentimes it's pretty easy if you're playing dive the right way. Wait for the cooldowns and make their life hell. Now, speaking of great DPS to do this, Hawkeye is one of the best counters. If you have a great shot, you can kill them within their ultimate, which is crazy. You know, you can use Magneto ult. That's usually the good old try and true way to kill them within their ultimate. But also, you cannot kill them and counter her with just being a tank, right? Magneto shield, Strange, Groot walls. You have Emma Frost now. All of these block healing from their team, making her way less effective, allowing you to kill who she's trying to protect, and then you close in and kill Cloak and Dagger last. All these work. You can get rid of her first, you can get rid of her last. Most of the time, Cloak and Dagger, though, aren't the key center of a team that you need to focus on countering right away. All right, guys, so Doctor Strange, one of the easiest characters probably to counter within Rivals. And it all comes down to using melee heroes. Heroes like Wolverine, Magic, Hulk, Emma Frost, all of these, even Thor, are great counters against Doctor Strange. They can burst through the shield, and effectively, he's just a big punching bag who can now not even put out that much respectable DPS. Your goal is to challenge him up front and personal and make his life hell. But if you want to do so from a range, you can also do things like Punisher to burn through the shield quickly, with whether it be infinite ammo or just a good old-fashioned turret. Emma Frost, just choke grabbing him is completely ridiculous because the shield is a big way that he survives and you shut that down completely. But outside the easy stuff and countering him like in just normal battle is watching his cooldowns. First of all, obviously, if there's a portal coming, it's up to you to mark the area, ping it, let your team know that they are portaling. Especially looking out for the beginning of fights or right after a team wipe, or even more importantly, when there's only a few seconds left on the clock. These are all times they're going to look to portal, and by now you probably know all the key portal locations, so ping it, let everybody know it's about to happen. But then you could go the extra step and go to Spider-Man and get him out of his portal animation, shutting that down completely. Invisible Woman, great way to counter him as well. The Eye of Agamotto, one of the best ultimates in the game. He charges it even faster now. So whenever you get a Strange being a bit more aggressive, especially if he wasn't doing that before, or it's been a while, it's probably obvious he's going to go with the Eye of Agamotto. Portals, all those things kind of give away key details that he's looking to ult. You could play with Invisible Woman and just push him away. That's the easiest way to counter this ultimate. You know, throwing up shields like Hulk Bubbles, Magneto, Doctor Strange. This is all easy ways to counter the ult as well. Unfortunately, compared to some prior seasons, he's just not as big of a threat and something that you don't need to worry about all too much when trying to counter him. All right, so the newest hero and Vanguard is the White Queen, Emma Frost. And how do you counter her? I see a lot of people struggle with her as a hero going against her, especially in this brawl comp, or when you're a frontline. How do you deal with her? And it mainly comes down to respecting her damn diamond form. Her diamond form is absolutely crazy busted, right? So if you're a dive, you're going to be done. If you're something like a Thor, choked out, dead, right? You need to let her use that, then back away. Let her kind of get, you know, whatever ground she's trying to get, because as soon as diamond form goes away, you can then punish her. Now, speaking of punishing her, the Punisher is a great way to counter Emma Frost. Good to burn through her shield, and then you just continually lay on DPS, and she's going to be just kind of a sitting duck whenever you get through her main line of defense. I would say Groot is a great way to counter her as well, because you can put, you know, walls behind her, shut her off from her supports, but also she's pretty slow. Just make sure you don't give her another wall to kick you into when she is diamond form. But yeah, you know, bait out that diamond form with the first dive, then, you know, get out of there. Something like Captain America, go and punish her a little bit and then let her go diamond form back out. And then once you know that's done, you can go back in. Obviously, Emma's main strength is that constant DPS, but her main weakness is her lack of mobility, which makes the Thing probably one of her best counters, because her big damage comes from the combo to wall kick and do her thing in diamond form. Well, she can't do that to the Thing. Now, lastly, when it comes to mechanics, there's a lot of things to look out for with Emma Frost, and obviously it's things like if you're a support player, either ult right away whenever she ults or hide behind cover. No, not too tough, but also she's not invincible or immortal during her ultimate. So after being mind controlled, you can punish her after that. Also, it's important to know her key gameplay loop, and that's her getting charged and getting that beam up more and more. So giving her free charge is probably a very bad idea, and I see a lot of people do that. No, don't just go in, give her charge, and then go back to your supports. This is a surefire way to charge up her, get her into Super Saiyan form, and then she's going to be able to, you know, destroy you. So watching things like Groot walls and Loki clones, or if you're Emma playing an Emma Frost, you know, watching where you put up your shield. And speaking of that, if you're Emma Frost, try to hold on to your diamond form as long as possible. It's kind of like a game of chicken, right? Like, let her pop her diamond form first, do what she needs to do. Then you go into yours. You know she has no way to counter it. Then you can, you know, punish her and do the wall combo and get rid of her pretty quickly. All right, guys, next up is Groot, and this is another easy one, and that is, why the hell have you not banned him? He is the #1 banned hero in the game for a reason. This guy is a nightmare in the right hands. Now, Groot is so good mainly because of one key thing. A good Groot is going to be able to block heals from the enemy team, reaching their tanks, and thus making it easier for your team to get eliminations on the front line. There's two main ways to counter Groot. You can attack him himself or his walls and burst them down quickly, which was made easier in this patch with his Ironwood wall going down by 100 health. Now, Wolverine is obviously the best counter. A lot of people ban Groot, but if you have a Lord Wolverine, he can typically get the job done by himself by building up his rage passive on his walls and then attacking Groot head on. Other characters great at attacking Groot himself are things like Iron Fist, who can burn him down. Bucky Barnes can grab him and pull him to your team to burst down. Hawkeye can get headshots and make his life hell. And then you can use flyers. Obviously, the walls are not going to affect them, so Human Torch is fantastic to zone him out. Iron Man for the poke damage, and Storm as well. Now, Groot wants your team to stay put and stay in his line of sight, so high mobility heroes are also fantastic against the tree. Psylocke, Star-Lord, Captain America, all very good to get around his obstacles and put punishing DPS damage on him. You can burn through the walls the good old-fashioned way, like Punisher and the infinite ammo, or just the turret itself. And this is one of the best ways to utilize Squirrel, is to burn through those walls. So in short, a lot of ways to handle Groot, and it's all about his wall placements and making sure that he has to use them for his own protection and not on the aggressive stance. Now, other than that, guys, pretty easy stuff. Make him uncomfortable, get right up close and personal, and be sure to watch out for his team wiping ultimate. Very easy to know about when this is ready, and if you haven't seen it in a while, just don't group up together and give them the easy team wipe. Okay, so Hawkeye, guys, listen, a good Hawkeye can carry teams pretty much easier than any other hero, and it's tough to stop one that has impeccable aim. However, the best way to do this is kind of like Black Widow, but even more so, is close on the distance, right? Use Black Panther, use magic, get up close and personal with Psylocke so that he kind of struggles and has to perfect his shots to really land the kills. All the DPS I have here are great for that, but you can also use big beefy boys. Captain America is good to punish him if you need to. Hulk, Magneto can get up close with his shields. Has a lot of survivability through Hawkeye. And then also I like Loki. I think Loki has a great way to be able to put a bunch of illusions up, and Hawkeye doesn't know which one is which, and then he can waste a lot of his shots one at a time while you burn him down as quick as possible. Ultimately, guys, Hawkeye is a lot like Black Widow, but more punishing. You have to respect him. So something like Clintar, don't poke out and get the early elimination pick on your own team and let them snowball you from there. You need to respect that their Hawkeye probably knows how to aim. And with his ultimate getting boosted, he gets it that much more quick. And I kind of treat it like a Punisher ult. You don't want to be out in the open. He can burn you down quickly, especially if you're a Vanguard. All right, so funny enough, the most viewed hero from the last counter guide outside of Black Panther and Spider-Man was actually Hela. And for good reason, she is a pain in the ass. Hela got buffed yet again, but did receive a bit of a nerf. And luckily, the nerf to her crow, her flyaway escape, is the way to counter her. You need to know when she's using this, as it's her only form to get out, and then you can put the pressure on her and punish her by closing in the distance. Now, Hela is good up close and she's good far away, which makes it tough. So if you are going to counter her with another Hela, which is typically one of the best uses for it, you need to make sure you get an awkward flank angle to get the kill. But also great heroes to instantly burst her down. Star-Lord, Magic is good at this. You can use big shields like Strange, Emma Frost, and Magneto. The Hulk can pester her a ton and follow that cooldown. Even Captain America is pretty good at that as well. She's not able to burst through your health, and you should be able to beat her down enough so that she can escape and ultimately dies. Punisher is always good at it too, can put out a lot of DPS, and mainly, guys, the biggest thing to look out for outside of just her god aim and respecting the damage that she can put out is her ultimate. Guys, ping it, attack it, everybody focus it at once. If you're in a team fight and Hela pops an ultimate, the most important thing probably is going to be taking down that Hela quickly, burst her down, and then you can continue on the fight. Other than that, guys, if you're a dive character, watch out for the CC that she can quickly 2-tap you. And if you're a support, be aware where she's at and always kind of taking a little bit of an off angle so you don't get picked off. And then ultimately, you're the reason your team lost because you get picked off by the Hela. That's her job. Now, I never would have thought Human Torch would be one of the best DPS in all of Rivals, but here we are, guys, and luckily, there's a lot of ways to counter Human Torch. Now, obviously, the best one by far is the character we just talked about in Hela. Easily burns down Human Torch, and any good Human Torch main is going to try to ban Hela immediately. But if you don't have access to Hela, things like Hawkeye is always good. A good Black Widow. Star-Lord can actually punish him pretty quickly by getting up close in his face. Scarlet Witch and Iron Fist are some of the best 2 characters against flying units and oftentimes can punish them. But most of the time, guys, the moral of this story is just pay attention. Look up and deal damage. Making Torch uncomfortable is almost as good as killing him, as he's going to have to flee and go to his supports or grab a health pack. Other than that, guys, Spider-Man's one of the best ways to easily just get rid of and burn through a torch and use the fire against him, right? But also Bucky Barnes can throw his now 2 charges of his anti-fly when he throws down his little charge ball. It's going to make him land on the ground, and then you can punish him from there. You can also hook him and just deal respectable damage to him. And then the Hulk, man. The Hulk can jump on top of him, pin him down. I actually think if you're great at the Hulk, he's one of the better counters for Human Torch if you can do it right. All of these work effectively. All of these can take him down. Just be aware of where he's putting down his flame walls that can constantly stack up damage. Sometimes, you know, kind of like Moon Knight, Torch's job isn't to get the eliminations, but pump out a lot of damage consistently so that the rest of the team can pick up the kills. Other than that, guys, his supernova is powerful, but he's pretty easy to kill through it, so look for him on an off angle when he is ulting to take him down. Now, keep in mind, whenever he is at low health, he's probably going to dive towards the ground to get extra health, so be wary of that. You know, don't be taken by surprise. So when you get him to low health, kind of look where he might land, and then you can finish off the job. All right, next up is Invisible Woman, one of the best supports in the game, and there's a lot of ways to handle Invisible Woman. Obviously, not every hero is great at it, but some are much better than others. Captain America and his shield throw is great at closing in on that elimination, and for that matter, a lot of these kind of heroes on this counter list all don't really care about her going invisible because they can track her through it or quickly get the elimination before it really matters. Venom's attacks can track her very easily. Magic can one-shot her. So all of these are just great for displacement or just constant DPS to get the eliminations quickly. Other than that, guys, you know, respect her ultimate. Only fight in it as a team if your supports are watching you and are aware. If you're by yourself in there, you're going to get burned down, so be sure to step in and out as needed. You can win the fight in there, so be aware of that. But also, guys, if you see her shields on the battlefield of any kind, burn through them. Once those are down, it takes a while for her to build those back up, and it's a great way to really slow down Invisible Woman. Really, the hardest thing about her is she's blonde wearing blue, and that's like every hero in the game. So, you know, be on the lookout where she is at all times and try to dive her first when possible if you are playing a dive hero, which many of these are going to excel. Iron Fist, you know, Spider-Man, Psylocke, the typical greats are going to be good at getting rid of her before the fight begins. Kind of like I just mentioned with Human Torch, expect her to double jump and invisible out of the situation. A lot of these heroes have great escapes, but if you know what they're doing, it's kind of obvious, right? And you need to just look for it and not be taken by surprise, which shouldn't be a surprise anymore when they try to escape. Look for where she might go. Now, a great one's going to double jump into a high ground and make it a lot more difficult, but most of the time you can kind of find them, especially if you're playing someone like Mr. Fantastic, who can do his sweeping arms and kind of scan the area just like he can do with Psylocke. Fitting that Reed is good against Sue. Okay, so Iron Fist, guys, one of the most banned heroes in Season 2, is one of the most annoying, and again, is one of those heroes that can easily carry, no question, a team to victory. Now, before I start talking about hero counters, one thing you just have to nail in your brain, like when I was playing a lot of Moon Knight, something that I learned quickly, just don't shoot him while he is parrying. He only has a short window to gain bonus health, and obviously your attacks are useless. He is waiting for you to use your combo. He's waiting for you to use your escape of any kind. If you're a Luna, he's anticipating you're going to try to freeze him. So you need to be one step ahead of him and try to do it when he's not expecting it. Easier said than done, but the more of these you play, the easier it's going to get. He's a insane brawler and very tough to take on, especially if he's going to react to you perfectly. But to give you the best chance to do that, heroes that are great against him are obviously Namor, Bucky, the good anti-dive like Mr. Fantastic. I think Thor is really good against anti-dive as well, so you can punish him with a bigger presence and really take him down if needed. Cloak and Scarlet Witch can track him easily and just kind of put constant pressure on him. And really, when it comes to getting his health low, he's going to escape, and he can do so very quickly with his engage and disengage of his kick. But then you need to listen and engage him back when he's trying to meditate. Iron Fist doesn't need a support to keep him going, and so you need to find him before he gets his health back up. Oftentimes, it's easy to locate him and kill him within his meditation before he can jump out and it's too late. Now, other than that, guys, the Thing and Emma are both great as always against divers that can, you know, just either pin him down with diamond form or disrupt him with the slam. All right, moving right along, guys, we have Iron Man, and a lot of this stuff here is the same as Human Torch. Outside of his overdrive mode is what's going to give him that extra health, and he sounds like a freaking AC-130 up in the air. Very obvious and loud where he is. Really, I don't struggle a lot with Iron Man. Look up, right, is going to be the #1 tip, and kind of look out where he's going. If he hasn't ulted in a while, you know, if you hear him going behind you and then kind of slowing down and then you hear the noise again, he's probably setting up for his ultimate. Other than that, guys, try to take off angles on him. Don't let him get that splash damage and stay in a room or somewhere that's easy for him to get consistent DPS. And the main offenders for the anti-fly, again, all these on screen here, are going to be good to shut him down. I think underrated is Psylocke. You can dash up, pop in a couple shots, and then go back down for almost an instant elimination. But most characters can put pressure on Iron Man, and just like Human Torch, just getting the pressure out there is half the battle. Now, other than that, guys, I would say just when you're a tank, learn to disengage. If he is beaming through you, his beam is going to kill you most of the time unless you can finish him off. And then, you know, be aware when he gets low health, a good Iron Man is going to jolt around quickly with his jet, go up and down and make it very tough for him to get hit. And so kind of like Human Torch, you need to anticipate when he gets to low health, that's what he's going to do. And so trying to find these weird angles that don't give him time to react, or if you're behind him and he's like going to go and get back to his back line, but you're already there, is a good way to shut him down. Now, what's great about Iron Man is outside of snowflakes and a couple other support stuff, he's not the easiest hero to heal for their support. So oftentimes if you catch him off guard, you can get the elimination. So in season 2, guys, Jeff is no joke. Obviously can put out some stupid good DPS and is one of the most frustrating heroes to go against if you're playing a good one. Your job is not to kill this freaking shark. It's to just get him to leave. Don't chase him. That's what he wants you to do. If he can get 3 people out of the fight versus just the one that he's there, and typically it's a triple heal comp, then he's doing his job correctly. I would say the main for majority of people to watch out for is the ultimate. There's plenty of tell time before it's used. And then also, if he hasn't used it in a while, you need to just be aware and not group up and have a way to, you know, get out of it. If you're Magneto, save your bubble and kind of anticipate it. If you're Emma Frost, use your diamond form. You know, there's a lot of ways to deal with handling Jeff alone. But when it comes to certain heroes specifically, there's a lot that can handle him with quick DPS. I think Moon Knight is fantastic with his Ankh and combo that can take him down quickly and track him without having to have perfect aim. Obviously, Hawkeye, Hela are great for just the 1-2 taps if you can land them correctly. A Jeff coming out of his hide and seek form is very easy to punish quickly, especially if they don't have great reaction time. Penny Parker does everything perfectly to handle a Jeff, so it can throw up nests, and that can punish his ult quickly, or you can, CC him with your webs. And then I personally love Bucky Barnes, Iron Fist, heroes that can either pull him and completely disrupt him, or in Iron Fist's case, you can kind of just track and punch and follow along, and eventually you're going to get that sweeping kick elimination. Mainly just remember, guys, Jeffs thrive on being annoying, so let him be annoying, but just punish him just enough to leave you guys alone. And then if he is being, extra DPS heavy, then try to punish him back. Now we move on to the God of Trickery, and no pun intended, but kinda, he can be tricky to counter, but there's a couple heroes that do so very well. Now, ever since his lanterns got a nerf and they're on a bit longer of a cooldown, he's become a bit easier to manage, waiting for him to use that all-important cooldown to keep himself alive. But the majority of his kit, like Iron Fist, is to keep himself alive. He has so many different forms of escape, and sometimes your job's not to kill him, but to slow him down between his healing and DPS. Now, talking about his counters, or at least his biggest ones, typically are heroes that are going to abuse his clone placements. Now, I play Loki all the time, but it's innate behavior to use your get outs to get into safety, and typically it leaves a clone behind, which then you can continue to feast upon. So Moon Knight is great with this. You don't want to heal him with the runestone up, or you're going to end up doing massive healing to the team, but a well-placed Ankh and a combos is going to be able to take out most Lokis quite quickly. Squirrel Girl can be great for bursting down just clones clumped together that you're going to see more in low elo. And then, of course, Bucky Barnes. Lokis are trying to get out of your ultimate, and then you can continue to feast on these clones to reset and again, and finish off the whole team. I think Star-Lord is also one of those characters that are good against Lokis for a quick barrage to get rid of clones and runestones, but also Loki can counter your ult a bit, making it kind of tough and kind of a chicken fight between the two of them. Those clones, the healing, the DPS, they add up a lot, and people ignore them all the time. And so whether you're Moon Knight or Adam Warlock, get the headshots. If you're Mantis, you can use headshots to enable your kit as well. And the best way to do this is, well, high DPS characters. So Hela and Punisher, also really good ways to just counter Loki, continually getting rid of the best part of his kit, and that is the clones. Okay, so Luna Snow is kind of the catch-all good hero at everything, and a good Luna Snow is going to make it very tough to counter her, but there are some heroes that are quick and burst at DPS, like Star-Lord, like Psylocke, Magic, Spider-Man, Black Panther. These are all good heroes against her, but again, she has freeze, she has ways to deal with you, and she can heal herself so easily, making it very tough to isolate and kill Luna Snow. Really what it comes down to is watching her cooldowns, which can be a bit more tricky to keep track of. Again, Ice Arts or kind of Clap is the one to look out for that can heal her quite easily. And then the Freeze are the two to mainly look out for when you're fighting her. With something like Iron Fist, like I talked about, you want to wait for her to use that freeze and anticipate her using it right away. Most Luna Snows are going to use that freeze right when you dive to protect themselves, or when you're trying to ult. You just need to respect that and be sure to be aware of, that freeze happening. And just know, if you're a dive character, most of the time it's very hard to win when you have Luna and let's say Invisible Woman together, they're going to keep both of themselves up. Luna Snow's one of the best characters in Rivals for a reason. It can be tough to counter, but plenty of the dives can do it so long as you get your timing right. Now, last thing to say about Luna is her insanely powerful ultimate. Great way is to try to put a lot of pressure on her and force her to use it, because obviously her using it when you're not using an ultimate is going to be the best way to get her to trigger it, and a bad support is going to oftentimes use her ultimate for herself instead of her team or a team fight, which is going to lead eventually to the win, even though you might not have gotten a kill. That's okay, you did your job. All right, now we move on to the melee DPS in Magic. She needs to be up close and in your face to do her job well, and that's a great strength of hers, but also a weakness. Now, lucky for you, there's a lot of ways to punish this, and that's mainly just using crowd control. Heroes like Penny Parker, Mantis, Bucky Barnes, Mr. Fantastic, all these very good to counter the dive that she is. Also didn't put them on here, but again, that kind of Loki, Adam Warlock thing can keep you up and alive if you are playing support. Emma Frost, Diamond Form, Flyers are fantastic against Magic as she cannot get up to them very easily, having to waste her most important cooldown, which looking for her dash is one of the key things you'll want to do, and then having a good idea when she uses portals where she's going to end up on the other side to quickly secure the kill. Good Magics can be evasive while also putting out a lot of damage, which in turn is going to give her more shields, so you'll need great awareness to take on Magic efficiently. Now, Thor can be a great bully that can just outmatch her physical melee threat against her. And then just keeping an eye out for her ultimate. Very obvious voice line, so get the team together. Make sure that they're aware you can burn her down pretty quickly if she doesn't have a pocket. Last tip for her, guys, is be very aware of her demons. Oftentimes, she gets free damage, which equals free shields by just placing demons in locations on top or just right into the action. And you'll be punished by this by just not paying attention. So again, just be aware of what she's doing at all times. And oftentimes, her being right in your face means you can punish her quickly and then move on to the rest of the team. All right, now we move on to one of the best tanks in the game, Magneto. And mainly, guys, this one's easy. Magneto is a tough hero, one of the best for a reason. But by pressuring him and making him force use his bubble on himself, is going to allow you to really open up the window to punish Magneto in what he does well. He's kind of the ultimate defensive tank in the game, and by eliminating his defense mechanisms and being aware of them is how you can punish him accordingly. Now, the number one threat for Magneto is as a support and his ultimate. Now, obviously, keeping track of this is important, but you're going to oftentimes have this triggered upon you, or if you're someone like Star-Lord, to counter your projectile, Punisher. These are the great ways, and why he's in Rivals is to have that counter presence against projectile heroes. And so you need to respect that. You need to be aware of it. You're going to need to know you're going to die plenty, but trying to be shifty and not go where he's expecting. And oftentimes, good Magnetos aren't even looking your way to deceive you, and then bam, you get the ball right on your face as a Cloak and Dagger. So burn through the cooldowns, be aware of his ultimate, and then take advantage of what is his biggest weakness, and again, that is his mobility. Now, Groot is a perfect hero to reflect this. You can put walls behind him and close off his team, and he has no way to get around this. He is a good counter at times against Wolverine, but if you do isolate him, he can be great to burn down quickly or kidnap and bring back to your team. Bucky Barnes, same thing. If you can time out the bubble and shield, you can pull him back into your team for everybody to focus him. Because of his lack of mobility, you can punish him with Namor turrets, Hawkeye headshots, or be a flyer and throw down something like flame walls as Human Torch. All of these are going to punish him massively. And I think a one-on-one counter that's really good is the Thing, and then of course Emma Frost. So you have a lot of tank and DPS counters that can handle the Master of Magnetism. All right, moving on to Mantis. Kind of a tricky hero to talk about because she's relatively easy to counter now that they've reduced her health. Really, you just kind of watch for that sleep mechanic she has. Outside of that, if you're a dive hero, you should be able to punish her most of the time. Either dive or well-timed shots from Hela, Psylocke. Any of this can take care of Mantis with ease. Like Black Panther, perfect example, can fall asleep obviously and get messed up pretty fast. But after that sleep, you can just delete her almost instantly with a simple double spear, double dash. Other than that, guys, her ultimate is nothing to fear all too much. If you see one overextending and going like full DPS mode, which a lot of Mantis like to do, then you can punish her instead, especially with the main offenders, the Magneto ults, the Psylocke, things like that. Altogether, though, pretty simple to counter as a hero. All right, so Mr. Fantastic is a hero I see a lot of people struggle with how to counter, and it can be tricky if you are kind of not playing against him all that much, especially in lower rank. The main mechanic here is watching for his rotations. So he obviously goes into big form, but then he also goes into his puffed up kind of tank form as well. And both these are very hard to kill him. He has extra shields. He can ult to get even more shields. And then he's pretty much invincible when he does the puff up move to absorb damage. What I like to do typically is wait for these to go off rotation. So whether he just gets out of big mode, but even more so right after he does that kind of puff up move is probably the best time to attack him, because he's going to have less chance to get shields of any kind, and usually he is overextended and in places he shouldn't be. Just quick instant DPS characters are very good at this to overwhelm that mode as well and burn through the shields as fast as possible. He's a big target, so he can be easy to burst down. Other than that, guys, flyers are great because you can fly up high and he can't reach you with pretty much any of his attacks, making it very easy to take him down. And then I think Emma Frost is great because, well, you choke him before he does any of his abilities, making it a bit easier to take him down. Other than that, guys, his ultimate, got to give a little bit respect to it now and back up a tad. Don't let him chain bounce after bounce, and make sure you're especially safe if you're inside anywhere, because he can easily get fast bounces off to eliminate the entire team. All right, so Moon Knight, one of my mini Lord characters. Love Moon Knight. I think he's actually underrated this season massively. Ultimate's great. Everything he has in his kit is good, but what's not good is close range divers. Now, even at this, you need to be wary if he does have a Cloak on his team. His self-healing into the Ankh combo can take down Psylocke easily. I don't struggle against them all too much, but it is the most efficient way to get after Moon Knight. Flyers are great. Iron Man, Human Torch, and Spider-Man is probably my biggest weakness when I'm playing Moon Knight. Just a lot to handle, and he can get in and out before I can kind of pin him down with my Ankh. Other than that, guys, maybe some tanks, right? Some big bullies. If you, over-aggress him fast like Thor, he can't simply out-damage you, and he will be overwhelmed eventually. Something like Venom is actually pretty good against him as well. Those are the main bits, right? Other than, his ultimate, make sure that you back out. It's very obvious when he is going to ult. He's got his hand up in the air, so just call it out to your team and be aware of where he is most likely to place it. Good Moon Knights are going to place it kind of behind you where they think you're going to back into it rather than right on top of you. All right, so Namor, I honestly wasn't sure on how many heroes to put here. You could put a lot of different people here, but it's more about how you handle him, and that's going to be getting rid of his squids and taking him out of the fight. But not only that, burst him down and make him use his floating bubble. This is his only form of protection, and once you do that, he's done. He has no way to escape and has virtually no mobility, so he's pretty easy to take out from there. Moon Knight is definitely my favorite. In fact, if they don't ban the Hulk and he has access to Gamma Squids, Moon Knight's an easy way to bounce off those squids and do extra damage to him and his team. But similar counters to Loki, I think, belong here too. The Hela, the Punisher, just fast, quick DPS to burst down these squids. Put burst damage on him, force the cooldowns, and engage. All right, Penny Parker got a lot better this season, and it's a bit harder to counter her, but it's mostly the same as Season 1, 1.5. Obviously, Flyers, very good at just continuously putting pressure on Penny. Human Torch being one of the best for this. Iron Fist even is a good way to get rid of Nest, and very easy to take care of that as well. But I would say probably the best overall counters to Penny would be Groot to get rid of the Nest very quickly. Wolverine to take her out of the healing webs, but in turn she can counter Wolverine, so you have to be somewhat careful there. I think the Thing is very good against the matchup, obviously not being able to get webbed down and stopping a lot of what Penny does well. Hela, Winter Soldier, Moon Knight are all very good to punish Penny because she can't do too much against them, and it's a lot of constant DPS going her direction. All right, next up is Psylocke, and this is a lot like Mr. Fantastic in the way that you want to watch her gameplay loop, right? So when she goes invisible and she has her dashes, she's very hard to take down, and in one-on-one encounters, she can be very tough to beat up close. So you need to wait for the invisibility to go down, her dashes to come off cooldown. She does get this back by shooting at you, but you can usually finish the job if she is without these. Obviously, a lot of the times you can just out-heal what she's trying to put out in damage, especially in her ultimate. Things like Loki is great against her Luna ult, Cloak Bubble. These are things that you can utilize to just shut down what she's trying to do completely. Hela is the 1-2 tap monster on Psylocke, really putting her in a tough position. I think Thor can bully her well. I think Mr. Fantastic, although countered a bit by Psylocke, also is good against her. And then, of course, the tried and true Bucky Barnes. In addition, guys, I think Emma Frost is one of the better tanks against Psylocke because they're shifty, they're hard to get, but you can just diamond form, grab her, and the whole team can finish her off from there. And outside of that, I would say Scarlet Witch is also a pretty good Psylocke counter as well. All right, so Rocky Raccoon, he's quick, he's shifty, but he's a bit easier to get this season because of the cooldown reduction on his dashes. But Scarlet Witch, Namor, Moon Knight, all of these are very good to quickly pin him down. Hela being probably one of my favorite. If you take an off angle, you can just 1-2 tap again, and Rocket is going to die. He's able to kind of dash around and be hard to get, going up and down ceilings and really just creating a tough opponent to hit. But all these heroes are going to have a pretty easy time taking on Rocket Raccoon. My main advice to counter him is typically try to take him down first, especially when you're trying to capture a point. You know, he's going to have that BRB device on defense, and so taking him down is effectively taking 2 heroes down. And as far as taking down his gadgets, guys, when he's going to ult, everybody shoot at it. It's very easy to take down, and that bonus health is going to go away very quickly. And the team typically gets overconfident when this ult lands, and then they try to extend. But if you burst it, you can burst them down and punish the team for overextending. All right, we're going nice and fast here. We have Scarlet Witch, a hero you have to respect a lot more, especially with that Doctor Strange team up. I would say probably my favorite are a lot of the same as someone like Psylocke. Emma Frost being a great example of this. I think Magneto is a great tank against her as well. Very tough for her to do really anything to Magneto. But Namor and his turrets, Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, Mr. Fantastic, Punisher can go from shotgun or the assault rifle. Either of these are very good against her as well. And then, of course, Hela, Star-Lord, both pretty good against her. Really just time out her phases, where she's going to go, and then with her ultimate, burst her down as fast as possible. Oftentimes, they're going to be very scared to be out in the open, and so you have to just find an angle, get behind a shield. There's plenty of ways to hide from it. If you feel like you can hide, that's when you burst her down. Really, the only thing to really look out for are 2 things. First, if she's ulting into a strange portal, very hard to counter that, especially if they're well rehearsed and well timed. That's something you just have to almost have, you know, in your memory that she's about to do. If you haven't seen TP in a while or Scarlet ult, you just have to be ready. And then also, I would say just don't undermine her team up ability. It puts out a lot of DPS, and typically heroes that can counter Scarlet can't, because they just get out DPS'd too quickly. All right, here he is, guys, Spider-Man, who's single-handedly creating a complete internet controversy about how quick he can kill characters and how annoying he is. Now, funny enough, if you saw my ban report, you saw that each and every rank, Spider-Man went down in his ban percentage. So the better you get, typically, the less annoying Spider-Man can be. And oftentimes, because he can get back to the battle and to the point and payload so quickly, it's just best to just try to get him off your back the best you can. Now, if he has Venom and he's well rehearsed, he is going to one-shot combo you a lot. And if you're support, just like Black Panther, if you're playing a good one, you're going to have to watch out for each other. However, just because Namor's banned, which oftentimes they're going to try to do if it's a good Spider-Man on the team, Scarlet Witch, Hela with good aim, Mr. Fantastic, Bucky Barnes, all of these are great ways to counter Spider-Man with ease. The Thing is fantastic. I don't care if you think he flies high. You can oftentimes get your knock up to land him. And then you have Hela kind of alley-oop with the thorn in the face. I think Thor's good as well. I think he's kind of underrated against Spider-Man, but throwing your hammer into him and then going into awakened form can often punish one that's trying to, 1v5 the backline. And then lastly, again, Loki, Adam Warlock, just their sustained healing is best against a dive comp. And Star-Lord, I think, is also a very good kind of sleeper pick as a Spider-Man counter. Now, my last tip for Peter is on maps that he's going to try to pull you off the map, like Spider Island. Just be aware of it. You got to know the spots that they tend to do this the most in. I played in the match the other day where Vanguard got pulled off like 10 times. Like, you just got to know where they're going to be and look out for it ahead of time. All right, so Squirrel Girl is kind of an interesting hero on how to counter. Really just getting high ground of any kind, so being a flyer, being up high with Moon Knight, and then anticipating when she's going to jump and or double jump, to change your crosshair and predict this. And then her ultimate's one of the easiest to counter in the game, right? Whenever she pops it down, what she does, charge it up fast, go ahead and quickly kill her little mammal friends. Other than that, yes, she is very good against shields, but if you want to go ahead and go aggressive, I think Strange and Magneto are good to kind of go aggro against her and then get the elimination that way. Lastly, kind of like Moon Knight, I think Psylocke's a great answer to quickly show up out of nowhere, do the 1-2 hit combo. Her hitbox is pretty big. It makes it easy to burst her down. So a very good Star-Lord. Sometimes I fear more than a amazing Spider-Man. They're shifty, put a lot of DPS out, and my God, the ultimate. However, you do have a lot of ways to handle him quickly. He's, highly mobile, but you have Invisible Woman for his ultimate if you need that. Cloak and Dagger is great to go and blind him and then put out devastating damage. Scarlet Witch for the quick tracking. Hela for the 1-2 pop. You have the turrets, you have your clones and lanterns and healing for Loki that he can't target during his ultimate. And then, of course, his best counter, Magneto, just sucking up that entire ultimate and then throwing it on his team. All right, so Storm, our last flyer, guys, very similar to Human Torch and Iron Man. Obviously, all the anti-fly, I'm going to put them all up on screen right now. And there's really not too much to dive into that I didn't dive into with them. other than, you know, respect the Hurricane and really just punish her when she's poking out. It's not that I don't think she's a great hero. I think Storm is really good, but it's pretty easy to counter her if people, again, I'm going to say it one more time, look up. Now, the only thing I want to shout out quickly here is if you do have Supernova, the Human Torch, team up with this, it is a devastating ultimate that deals stupid damage and can kill people through support ultimates. You have to know when they anticipate using it. This is something that is typically banned out, but if it's not, I'm telling you guys, it can carry games single-handedly. All right, so Punisher is an easy one. It's typically hide when he's in turret mode and hide when he's in ultimate form. A lot of DPS coming at you, but Magneto is typically the best way to shut this down, both with an aggro shield against him. Captain America can do the same. Throwing up the Living Legend as he's ulting is going to pretty much kill him instantly if you can time it right. And then Magneto's ultimate, the Meteor M, sucks it up, throws it down, is probably the most efficient way to handle a good Punisher. At low elo, guys, just concentrate on his damn turret. That's half the reason why Punishers are carrying at lower ranks. But then you can also go with quick dive heroes like Black Panther, like Magic, Spider-Man. All of these are really good as well. And then I think even though he's good against Mr. Fantastic, I do think Reed Richards is actually pretty good against Punisher. Other than those choices, the typical like good poking DPS can do a good job against him. I think Moon Knight is one of those underrated ones against Punisher. He doesn't have a lot of ways to escape, and typically he's planted still, just doing his infinite ammo or whatever it might be. So getting a flank angle and then doing a quick combo on him, it makes light work of it. And then lastly, if you're great at Iron Fist, man, you can block easily, get that bonus health, and then punish the Punisher. All right, so the thing is very easy to counter once you learn that he can just get bursted down to oblivion quite quickly. Yes, he gains bonus shields. Yes, he can look aggressive, but if his team is not healing him or he's away from his team, he's one of the easiest heroes to drop, which is why he's not so good at lower ranks. Now, Wolverine is a counter to him, kind of, but it's not going to be the best one out of the bunch. I think Iron Fist is much better here to burst him down, punish him. We see that in high-level play. A lot of Iron Fist countering things out there. Quick DPS like Hela, like Star-Lord, like Punisher. Squirrel is really good. I think Groot is awesome for kind of putting up walls behind the thing and not allowing him to go back to his team. He has to have line of sight to do so, and so cutting that off can punish him very quickly. And then Luna, of course, you have the freeze, which is one of the best things to just completely isolate, shut down the thing, and then he's going to be screwed from there. Lastly, just like the other tanks in the game, I think flyers are typically pretty good against him. He really can't go up against you, so playing Iron Man, playing Human Torch, and Storm, you can kind of just poke down and do constant headshot damage. A few more left, guys. God of Thunder, Thor. What is good against him? There's a lot of things, but mainly I would say Emma Frost has been really good to choke slam and punish him. Penny Parker probably being my favorite counter. If you have an overly aggressive Thor, especially if you're trying to hold down a point or an objective, really good way to shut him down. He has no shield, so Moon Knight can punish him and the supports behind him. Wolverine and Iron Fist for the typical tank busting. And then I just think Punisher is a good matchup to match his raw DPS. Really, same advice as before. When he's in Awaken mode, he puts out a lot of damage, but he can't do anything else, and that is when you want to punish him. And then his ultimate, of course, is kind of the key thing that holds it back, right? Like, you know when it's coming a mile away, and you just kind of respect it. It can kill you, but look up. You can also punish him while he's charging up the ultimate. And mainly, just get him away from the one-on-one battles. If you bring him into the team, that's when you're going to have the best chance to take him down, because he's meant to be one of the toughest brawlers within the game, and it's very hard to take him down by himself. All right, so Venom dive tank, very similar to a lot of the dive we've talked about. Clearly, he hates Emma Frost, and it's honestly keeping Venom at check this season. But any good CC here can do the job, especially if you time it when he's trying to get away. Luna snow freezes and the sleeps with Mantis are just huge for this. Squirrel Girl and then the Penny Parker webs, these all work as well. Quick DPS and mainly just focusing him down. He's going to get that shield up. He's going to get high HP, but he's easy to punish. Once you kind of learn the cycle of him diving in, slowing everybody down, putting some damage, shielding up, and then leaving, you just have to cut him off on that last step to get the kill. Lastly, don't underestimate his ultimate. It gives him big shields fast, but it can also do a good amount of damage. All right, so Winter Soldier has been tamed down a lot since Season 1, but he also got another charge, making him way more lethal if he knows how to aim. Now, obviously, with his ultimate, don't feed into it with illusions and Loki and things that he can continue to trigger it. But as far as his base kit, his hook now has such a long cooldown that you want to try to bait this out when you can, or after he uses it, that's when you want to punish him. His health is often deceptive because he has low health, but all of his abilities is going to give him more health and survivability. So it's oftentimes not someone you can finish off when you think you can. So just be wary of kind of what he's using, and to the best that you can, keep track of which abilities he recently used. And then you have Emma Frost, Magneto, the Thing, good Vanguards to put up a nice fight against him as well. Other than that, I think Captain America is also pretty good to give him a difficult time and make him burn down his cooldown so your team can help finish him, or just bully him enough to get the finishing elimination. And then last but not least, guys, we have Wolverine, who's suffering a bit more this season than he has seasons prior. You still have to watch out for him, right? Especially if you're a Vanguard. Watch his passive. Once that passive is pop, communicate to your team or try to burn him down with high DPS. He's still very susceptible to constant crowd control, but for the most part, just don't let him build up the rage on simple things. Groot walls, equipment, being an aggressive Vanguard, even though you're getting healed, he's going to continue to out DPS you and the healers when he gets that rage up. Also, though, watching his cooldowns where he doesn't have the damage reduction and being wary of when he's going to ult are the two easiest ways to really just remove Wolverine from the fight. And that should cover it, guys. That's the Season 2 guide on how to counter every single hero within Marvel Rivals. If I missed a hero, drop them down below. And if you want to help me out, and if I helped you out, go and subscribe. It helps build the channel up and get this thing going, man. We're going to do more fun videos just like this one. Have a good one. Have a great one. Until the next one, happy rivaling.